Welcome everyone to the Thriving Agent Success System, training number 13, Mind and Body. One of our more interesting training sessions, I think. I hope you enjoy it. But before we get into the new material, let's review your previous action list from the energy and time management session. Number 1 was decide on what changes you're going to make to gain energy and stamina and write those in your journal. Hopefully you've made some progress on that. Number 2, schedule at least some exercise into your weekly routine. I know most of you do this already, but for those of you who don't, this is an opportunity to start taking yourself to a new level. Number 3, hold your business mixer this week. This is one of the easiest things to get going with new connection and bonding activities, because even if it's just 3 or 4 people you know in other industries that are in your local area, you can meet for a coffee, and that's the first business mixer. So it's very easy to do. Don't procrastinate thinking it's a big project, and you'll make your next one better. Number 4, at night, declutter and organize your home office so everything is ready to rock and roll for your new real estate business. Number 5, maintain and increase your daily connections to meet your goals, particularly calls in the morning, getting those personal notes out, and making your connections in the afternoon. Number 6, practice particularly the campaign dialogue and then the 1, 2, 3 and departing dialogues daily. As you know, those are all related to educating your database and dropping the hints of referrals, and are really a fundamental part of your ongoing marketing and prospecting. Training 13, Mind and Body. 3 major topics today: your body and nutrition, the why, your why in particular, that is the foundation for your mindset and attitude. And we're going to begin discussing the topic of running your mind, which introduces our new training series and part of our coaching series of performance mind management. We're going to discuss body and nutrition first because it's a much more straightforward topic than the mental side of our game. Either you're going to add nutrition and health as a priority or you're not. But I strongly encourage you to do so, because most superstars in our business do make this a part of their regimen and routine. So it's really up to you, but I hope I can give you a little bit of inspiration to move yourself up a notch in terms of nutrition. Your body. So this topic of our bodies, we're going to talk about vitality, health, energy, and stamina. Superstars really want an edge, and sooner or later they study nutrition. So I invite you to start now, and I mean today. Don't put it off even for tomorrow. Start thinking about this and adding it into your routine and plans and intentions today. So I've done a bit of study on nutrition myself. As you know, I do a lot of reading, but here are 3 experts that I strongly encourage you to start taking a look at, and all of them are also prolific authors. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, he was an Olympic skater actually, so he started as an athlete, became an MD, and he's one of the nation's leading experts on nutrition. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at his site. He's got a number of books. He has a number of books that I think are all worth reading, but Eat to Live is his main text that is just terrific. You can find it in most libraries, actually. The next one is Dr. John McDougall, who's here in California, actually. And I've had communications directly with Dr. McDougall. He's also an author of a number of great books, has a terrific website, newsletters. And the third one is Dr. Colin Campbell, who was involved in the interpretation of the China study, which you'll see in some upcoming slides, which was really interesting. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And then also take a look at Tony Gonzalez's website. He's an NFL tight end, one of the greatest ever, clearly going to be in the Hall of Fame. And he is an unusual guy from the standpoint that while being a world-class athlete, he's become a tremendous student of nutrition and has experimented with a number of diets that relate to, just being a fantastic athlete. So there's some connection between what Tony's discovered in terms of being a superstar athlete and the three doctors on this slide. So I encourage you to take a look at this material and start making some of your own conclusions. So here's some information on Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and you'll notice the bottom of the slide here we talk about his New York Times #1 best-selling book, Eat to Live, that was published about 10 years ago and has sold over 1 million copies. He's really a very, very interesting guy. He's got some very educational and entertaining DVDs on kind of retooling your kitchen for nutrition, so it's pretty entertaining as well as informative. So take a look at him when you get a chance. Here's some information on Dr. John McDougall, who's up north, and I think he's in the Bay Area, but he's in California. A number of books and articles. He has a newer book out called The Starch Solution, which talks about how healthy rice, corn, potatoes are because they make you feel full, but they don't give you fat or the animal protein, which he thinks should be reduced in a superstar's nutrition regime. So take a look at Don McDougall's information, and I think you'll find him really, really interesting guy. Dr. Colin Campbell, he is an interesting guy. He's a scientist and researcher as well as a doctor, and his legacy is the China Project. In summary, what the China Project did, or the China Study, it is a multi-decades-long research project that looked at different villages in China that were so remote that their diet was restricted to what they could either grow, catch, or find in the local area, and the implication of those food sources on their overall health, which would be impossible in the United States. If you think about it, no matter where you live, you've got access to grocery stores, you've got access to fast food and restaurants in the United States, but not in some of these remote villages in China. So some of them had rivers, some of them were near the ocean, some of them had no major water sources, so they couldn't eat fish. Some of them didn't even have cattle, so they were strictly vegetarian. So they had all these diverse villages with different food sources and studied the impact of what they ate over their long-term health. And of course, the interesting thing here, as you might suspect, is they found that some of these people in villages were much healthier than others, and it dominantly related to a massive reduction in animal protein, and sometimes including dairy. So the China study was some interesting scientific data that indicates how important nutrition is on long-term health, cardiovascular, and heart disease. Tony Gonzalez. So here's a little bit more information on him. I have his book, The All Pro Diet, which is a terrific book. It's probably in some libraries, but maybe this might be the easiest way for some of you to start, because instead of getting into a lot of the science of this, you could read how a superstar athlete has concluded his regimen in terms of nutrition. It's a pretty good read. So the commonalities of all of this work is nutrition is the way to health, vitality, and energy, not prescriptive drugs, or what we call SAD, which stands for the Standard American Diet. Real food is the key as opposed to processed food. So most of these books conclude your diet should be dominantly based on things you actually buy in the produce section and prepare yourself, as opposed to out of bags or in the frozen food section. Just that alone is a major change in the way most Americans eat. For those of you that really want to lose weight, it's not easy. We all know that. The regime on the left, this 90-day regime, is really going to do it for you. So if you have the willpower, you could lose weight very, very quickly. And then after you get to a desirable weight, you add things back in to maintain it. As we'll learn in our coaching session, here's an insight that really struck me as I studied this through the years, is if you have a directive affirmation or an affirmation that you're going to lose weight, in other words, I want to lose weight, that's the wrong mindset. because what happens with an affirmation of I want to lose weight or I'm losing weight is you'll lose weight, but then you've got to gain it back because your affirmation is to lose weight. So essentially that directive affirmation to your self-image puts you in a roller coaster, as opposed to the mindset or affirmation, I want to get to 170 pounds and maintain it. I know this sounds a little bit odd, maybe even silly, but when you deal with directive affirmations to the self-image, it's literal. So if you move into coaching with me and performance coaching and start to learn some of the systems and techniques that Olympic athletes, PGA players, and other world-class athletes use in terms of mind management, they bring in nutrition and these directive affirmations. And if weight loss is one of yours, it's one of the first affirmations we can work on together if you want. So in summary, these books really have a very similar nutrition outline, which is a lot of vegetables, heavy in vegetables and fruit, grains, pure starches. In terms of alcohol, I mean, we're Americans. We have to celebrate. And I think it's important that you enjoy your life. So if you love red wine like I do, or an occasional martini, that's okay once you get into a good routine. In fact, John McDougall mentions that moderate alcohol is okay. Some of the other guys are more strict, but this is not a wacky theory on nutrition. So you can bring that back into your diet once you hit your desirable weight. All of them minimize animal protein because of the havoc a lot of animal protein wreaks on your cardiovascular system and your heart. So, for example, Tony Gonzalez cut out chicken and fish totally and found that he was too weak to be an NFL tight end. So he had to bring some animal protein, obviously lean animal protein, back in to keep up his strength as an athlete. But we don't have the regime of workouts for the NFL. So you could eliminate it, or at least bring it way down. That'll make you much healthier. This is the tough one. No processed foods, dairies, or oils. One of the big wake-up calls in the research for me was olive oil. I'm half Italian, and I've consumed tremendous amounts of olive oil because I've always thought it was good for me. But a teaspoon of olive oil, depending on which one it is 120 to 150 calories in 1 teaspoon. So it's super intense fat, even though it's vegetable fat. But most of these diets encourage you to start loving vinegar and using substitutes for oils. So that was a wake-up call for me. And obviously, salads are huge, and I've always loved them, and hopefully you do too. And so this is just kind of a quick summary for you on this slide. Why? Why do you want to be a real estate agent? That's something we need to investigate, because the initial answers almost invariably I hear are not really why. If you already had what you want, you would not be here. So you're goal seeking, correct? But it's important to know why. Pretty much all of us are always striving for something or many things. And in that perspective, we're goal-seeking machines. But why are you seeking goals? Let's take a look at that question. Mindset and attitude. The proper mindset and attitude that you need to have to be successful and achieve your goals, whatever they are, is tied to your why. The reason you're doing what you're doing, the reason you're motivated to achieve your goals. We want to peel back that onion and get really clear as to why. So why do you want to be a real estate agent? Survival, obviously financial survival, security. Maybe you have survival. Maybe you're at the survival mode. Maybe security is your goal. Support your family, money, make more money, financial independence, be your own boss, don't want a regular job. These are all common answers I hear, and maybe some of them resonate with you. Why these are all valid reasons they need to be personal and unique to you. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just prompting you to think about these questions. We touched a bit on this subject in the goal setting training session, but most people do not dig deep enough to get to their real why. And that's what I'm inviting you to do today. So let's look into this question a bit deeper. Typical answers about why I hear from agents are, I want to make a lot of money. Well, that's obvious. I mean, we're Americans, we're capitalists. But that's a what. Money is what, not why. Scott, I want to learn how to sell real estate. Well, that's a reason for joining our team, certainly, but that's more of a how. That's how you're going to move forward and accomplish your goals, but it's not why. Financial survival. Well, that's certainly a valid reason, but is there anything beyond that? Have my own schedule. Well, that's interesting. That's getting more to the heart of the matter, possibly. Some of you say independence. That's even more interesting. So let's look deeper. So making money is a what, not a why. And what will making a lot of money do for you? And please don't tell me to buy things. As we've seen in the last slide, learning how to sell real estate may be why you joined Thrive, but it is not why you want to be a real estate agent. The why is often missing. Well, that's not actually correct. It's not really missing. It's just not readily seen. We don't really look at it that often. For example, many agents will say something like this: Scott, I want to make a lot of money, so I sell real estate. Well, okay. But that's placing the what first and then the how, and there is no why. I think it's important and will really help you if you get clear on your why first. Your why is your cause, your mission, or your higher purpose. Your how is how you'll go into the world and express your mission to make it come to life. And your what is the business you're in, what you do. Please let me provide a first draft example that might be helpful. Here's an agent, let's say, one of your teammates, for example, and here's their why. I want to be financially successful due to my skills and knowledge alone, not rely on others, independent from employers, market conditions, and other factors. I want to be in control of my financial destiny. That's a pretty great statement, pretty intense, I think, right? Here's their how. I will challenge the status quo in my industry by being a skilled relationship builder, not just a salesperson. I build relationships by earning the trust of those that I serve, and in turn they send me more and more business. And oh, by the way, I help my clients buy and sell homes. The point here is the why is first. That's the driving energy behind everything this agent does. Then we investigate the how. Okay, how are we going to accomplish this mission? We have this cause. What's the next step? And the what is what you just happen to do. And actually, you can have the why drive all kinds of things you do. This why could be something that has nothing to do with selling real estate. It's the cause that you're trying to move forward in your life and make real. So we're going to investigate these words in great detail here. So that example is not bad. I think we're getting a little bit closer to the heart of the matter. But let's examine this why a bit further and see what's underneath and what might resonate with you in this example. I want to be financially successful due to my skills and knowledge alone, not rely on others, independent from employers, market conditions, and other factors. I want to be in control of my financial destiny. So we're stripping this down a little bit. But we know, as we know, financially successful is actually a what. So let's take that part out. So here's what we have left so far. Due to my skills and knowledge alone, not rely on others, independent from employers, market conditions, other factors, I want to be in control of my financial destiny. due to my skills and knowledge. Interesting statement. What does that really mean? Not relying on others, okay? Independent from employers. Are we starting to see a pattern here underneath? In control of my destiny. So I think you can start to see with these statements what's really driving this person or this real estate agent. So what's the common theme? Being self-directed, responsible for the outcome, not relying on others, independent and in control. This person is not justifying, rationalizing, blaming, making excuses, or being a victim. This person is a powerful force to be reckoned with. So in one word, in this example, I think the real why is self-reliance. I'm not sure what your why is, but I think most of you, when you really dig down deep, get this. It means something to most of you. It might be what you really want. You want to do it by yourself, and you want the freedom, independence, and sense of accomplishment. And more importantly than the money, the houses, and the cars, while they're all great, there's something even more important and profound, and that is who you become in this process. Please click on the speaker there, because this is a Latin statement, Ne te quasi veris extra, which means in Latin, do not look outside yourself, look within. This is an ancient Latin saying and gets to the heart of the matter why people want to leave jobs, leave the actual illusion of security for working for a big company that could fire you or lay you off, and be the master of your own destiny. I think that drives a lot of real estate agents. And what we're going to do is give you the habits, the skills, and the systems so you can be self-reliant. So join me for a moment. Let's take a pause. I'm inviting you to close your eyes. Let this sink in. Did we tap into something real for you, your real why? If you get emotional, that's a really good thing. It means we're discovering something within ourselves, something real. And it's okay, you're in safe company with me. I'm your partner in this journey, if you allow me to be that. And when you're ready, and you're visualizing, and you're ready to move on, let's do it. So here's the why outline for Thrive Homes and Estates. In everything we do, we strive to contribute to people's lives to help them thrive. That's our mission and core value. And if you look at that statement, it applies in two ways. That's our why as we relate to you, our agents, contributing to your life and helping you thrive. And it's what we inspire you to do with your mindset and your why moving forward with your clients, contribute to their lives and help them thrive. They go hand in hand. How? We challenge the status quo of our industry by being relationship builders, not salespeople. We build relationships by earning the trust of those we serve. So as you know, part of our how is coming from contribution and being relational instead of transactional, as we've discussed in some of the earlier training sessions. And the what is, and oh, by the way, we just happen to help our clients buy and sell homes. Everybody starts with what, but actually that's almost an afterthought when you're investigating your why. So why join the Thrive organization, Thrive Homes and Estates? In everything we do, we strive to empower our people to become self-reliant and thrive. That's you. We strive to empower you to become self-reliant and thrive. How are we going to do that? We challenge the status quo of our industry by educating and inspiring our people to become relationship builders, not salespeople. We educate and inspire our people to build relationships by earning the trust of those they serve. And the what? Our people also happen to help their clients buy and sell homes. So what is your why? As we've learned, your why fuels your motivation, and if strong enough, creates your burning desire and tenacity that forms the foundation for your attitude. Not your what or how, but your why. Key insight. Expressing yourself as a relationship builder and building your business based on referrals, as opposed to the status quo transactionally focused commission-hungry agent, provides a key reason for your clients not only to hire you, but to refer you. The relationship that you build with your clients, one based on trust and concern for their well-being, will overcome many weaknesses or lack of experience. And that relationship based on trust, by the way, and concern can be expressed so simply by personal notes and drop-by gifts. Very simple, inexpensive ways to start expressing to your database your concern for their well-being. It moves you to their top-of-mind consciousness, and they will start referring you. So this all ties together in your system of marketing and prospecting. Mindset and attitude. Attitude. So what is the attitude you need to adopt or create to be successful in this business? Your attitude has a direct impact on your success over the long term. If you do not have the right attitude, mindset, and perseverance for the marathon, you'll not be successful. So let's discuss attitude a little bit deeper and talk about the foundations that can help you have a great attitude. Angela calls it grit. In our business, the word grit fits. Yes, grit fits. So ask yourself, are you gritty? To win over the long term, you need grit. Very few agents that I meet have enough of it. So what can we learn from our children? I'd like you to watch this video of Angela speaking at the famous TED conference.
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. Some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard. Ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram. But these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure, things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measures of talent. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks, because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we've been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to be gritty about getting our kids grittier. Thank you.
Hopefully you enjoyed Angela's video about what really makes children successful. And it's not intelligence so much as it is their grit. Hopefully that'll inspire you to have a fantastic attitude for the long term. But there is something else. And that something else is learning how to run your mind. The majority of this training we have at Thrive Homes and Estates is about habits, skills, and insider secrets to be successful selling real estate. That's super important. Yes, you need to learn all these things and incorporate them into your workflow and your work systems. But to be very successful, to take it to the next level, you also need to know how to run your mind to enhance your performance. Human beings are not machines, of course, but we possess an immensely powerful machine that is very similar to a supercomputer, and we call it a brain. To enhance performance, you need to program your brain or your mind. The final frontier. Yes, you need a positive attitude. Yes, you need a strong why that motivates you. Yes, you need to refine your skills until they are subconscious. But if you don't properly run your mind, you will not be elite. The mental game. The elite have a strong mental game. The elite understand performance mind management. The difference. So what's the difference between the elite and the rest of the pack, particularly when they have similar skills and resources? The elite have stronger mental games. If you followed sport at all, you've probably heard people talk about the mental game in about every sport there is. It applies also to real estate agents because we have to perform. We have events, meeting with a buyer, meeting with a seller, the listing presentation. That's our arena. And the elite in our business have strong mental games so that it is like them to win. In other words, you're telling your self-image, it's like you to win. So if you want to take it to another level, if you want to up your game, so to speak, I recommend you commit to learning how to run your mind. You may have heard that we have a new training series in development that we're incorporating into one-on-one coaching called Performance Mind Management. Please connect with me if you're interested to taking it to another level. But I think there's a rite of passage to this next level. A couple things you need to do. Number one, you need to study all 15 training videos and incorporate the action items that are recommended at the end of each video into your workday, your systems, your marketing, and your prospecting. And you need to be religious in doing the outbound actions daily. If you don't do the outbound actions, you're never going to make the deals in our business. There's a direct connection between calls, notes, connections, etc. to the escrows you close. So really, you've got to start with the basics. Learn our insider secrets in the 15 training sessions and start really executing in the field. Once you do that, then I think you're ready to think about taking it to the next level. The point then becomes whether you're committed or not in taking your career up a notch. And the answer is unequivocally that the mind management system will help you do that. Congratulations on completing this section. So let's take a look at the mind body next actions. Number one, please visit the websites of the nutrition experts, learn more about the subjects, and choose one thing that you will change and commit to changing that will improve your health and energy. Let's just start with one change. Take it one step at a time. Number two, discover your why and then write it down. Hopefully you've done that to some degree in the outcome visioning and goal setting training, but we really want you to dig deeper here and discover your why. Or whys. Actually, there could be several. But really your main why the question is, why are you a real estate agent? Why do you want a real estate agent instead of a regular job? There's a reason for that. Number three, maintain and increase your daily connections to meet your goals. Number four, write at least one blog entry per week into your Thrive site. That's important because we want you to start getting known in the business communities of your target market. Number three, write 3 notes each day to those who attend your business mixer. So if you had whoever comes to your business mixer, you want to follow up with a personal note to each of those attendees. We're using 3 notes in case you've just started the simple business mixer with 3 people coming to have coffee with you one business morning. If you've got 10 people to your business mixer, you need to write each of them a thank you note. Number 6, congratulate yourself. You're only 2 training sessions away from finishing the Superstar training, also known as the Thriving Agent Success System. It's been my pleasure to be with you during this training session, and I'm honored to coach you. So let's preview Training 14, Financial Systems. We're going to discuss the attributes of financially successful people. We're going to take it one step at a time in terms of structuring your financial systems. We're going to discuss business and personal financial planning, provide you with some insights, some tips in financial organization. We're going to alert you to common mistakes to avoid, and we're going to show you how some of the superstars manage their finances. Thank you for learning, everyone. It's now time to take action. This is Scott Farrell signing off.